Turn it up.
From the YBA Phoenix Fitness 24/7 basketball facility in Rocklin, California, it's Coach's Rise time with Coach C.Collins.
Get it started. 3, 2, 1.
Coach's Rise time.
Hey, how you doing? Thank you for checking in to Coach's Rise Time. I'm Coach C.Collins, where I talk a little bit of commentary for you guys who've been listening. Appreciate it. If you can, hit that subscribe and like button. Help me out with the algorithm. Do the HBO special. Help a brother out. Thanks again for being here and checking out my episode, whether you checking it out on the audio side or you looking on YouTube. It's much appreciated. I want to do a reaction video. I ran across It's Complicated. They do some amazing work on that channel. I will definitely send a link in the description. Also with my list of sponsors is down there as well, so please feel free to check them out. Dr. Dish, Hidden Treasures Cannabis Club, Hardwood Palace Tournaments. Go ahead, check them out if they suit your needs in any way. If you're ghost watching, feel free to still check me out. I'm hoping my views can get up and get out there and more people can check it out. But with It's Complicated, they made a really cool video and they brought up kind of the WNBA and the NBA and the wage gap. I will say a little bit of what I think to it. Overall, I just think the way he presents it and the way he acknowledges it, allowing the women he's interviewing to think and hopefully, get more grounded in everything. I like it. Me personally, I'll just put out there, I'm not red pill, blue pill. I'm not for feminism, against it. I'm just of the sound body and mind that things have to make sense. There has to be some sort of logic to it. And the reality is we live in a capitalist society. So it really is, everyone gets a fighting chance. I mean, I'm here with a YouTube channel and in a small little podcast, that I've built from the ground up. This capitalist framework is what allows that to happen. So I'm not one to say either side is right or wrong. I just believe that there needs to be truth. There needs to be objective truth. And we extrapolate our subjective lifestyles out of that objective truth. So, check it out. See the video. I'll give you my reactions and we'll go from there.
Who is the most famous actress you can think of?
Actress? Drew Barrymore.
Okay, if Drew Barrymore was in a movie with a male co-star that nobody had heard of, would it be fair to pay them the same salary?
No.
Why not?
Because he's not, known of, and because he didn't, work to be famous like she did.
Okay, since Drew is the star of the movie, won't she bring more people to the theater than her co-star?
Yes.
Okay, that's called star power. How is that different than the gender pay gap?
Oh, that's a loaded one. For women or for
Well, I mean, the WNBA complains about not being paid the same to the NBA, and they don't generate as much revenue. So, I mean, isn't that kind of like the same thing?
I feel like the WNBA isn't promoted as much as the NBA because they are women.
Okay, I want to stop it there because that's an argument I've heard several times when it comes to women basketball, especially in these podcasts in the manosphere and just talking about it. This ideal that men are promoted more than women in the media, whether it be social media, mainstream media. I'm here to tell you that's not the case. It's not that the NBA players are promoted more, it's they have more endorsement deals. So, for instance, you'll see Steph Curry because he's not only, of course, one of the premier players of the NBA, and shout out to him for winning another NBA championship and finals MVP. I'm a Warriors fan, straight from the town. But he has a contract with Under Armour. So, of course, you're going to see him in a lot of Under Armour ads. You go to an Under Armour outlet or store, you're going to see a section of him, a section of his shoes and promotional materials. I believe he also has a contract with a water company, so he's going to promote that water. He has endorsement deals with other brands, hence why you would see him more. Very similarly to LeBron James. Everybody who knows basketball remembers the legendary deal that before he even walked onto an NBA court, where his first game was against the Sacramento Kings, he had already got $100 million. It was either $100 million or $150 million deal from Nike. So the young man at that time, LeBron James, was $150 million rich before he even walked onto an NBA court. So it's not so much the promotion, it's more the endorsements. And unfortunately, women don't get as endorsed as much because they're not bringing in as much revenue, because these companies simply want to make money. I'm just going to be honest with you. These companies, that's their motivation. They want to make money. So the pay gap, or this idealism of women aren't being promoted as much as their male counterparts, isn't really the case. On top of, because of the invention of social media, honestly, you can promote yourself and you can really make an impact in the media. Think about it. There's kids like Mikey Williams who literally play high school ball, and he has a following of 4.8 million. There's Peyton Kemp, this kid who plays AAU basketball out of Detroit. Really good kid. I've had a few opportunities to talk to him. I think he's amassed a following of almost 1.5 million, and he's a 7th grader. He's only 13 years old. There's young girls in that same situation. There's also Matt Barnes' kids, his 2 twins. They've amassed a podcast and a very huge following based off of not only just people knowing who their dad in the mass marketed media and them living in LA, which is clearly the most marketable place to be in, but because, they're charismatic and they play basketball and they're being promoted the right way through their family and self-promotion. So this idealism of women aren't being promoted in the WNBA simply off the basis that they're women, that's just inaccurate. Sorry. But let's move forward.
Right, but I mean, wouldn't a male co-star that no one's ever heard of not be promoted as much and not be able to?
Yeah, I guess.
So is that comparable?
Maybe, sure.
I mean, wouldn't it have more to do with performance than discrimination?
Oh, I don't know. You're like hitting me. I wasn't ready. I don't know.
You're right about that one, but I just feel like
if they both doing the same job,
thing,
they deserve the
they
same
should.
pay. It doesn't matter.
Okay, but at the same time, then why would someone want to star in their movie?
I mean,
What would be the benefit of having a celebrity in your movie if they weren't gonna, bring more people to the theater?
right. That makes sense, but
I mean, they're both doing the same job, but don't they have different value to the project?
Notice their facial expressions. Notice how you can see the wheels turning and the walls being broken down. The indoctrination is being teared down. I just find all that interesting. And shout out to It's Complicated, because going around Vegas having these conversations, getting people to think, that's, in my opinion, the best use of our First Amendment to get social change and getting people to think and have conversations and just find some common ground.
yeah, but I feel
you're right.
So shouldn't their pay, reflect the value that they're bringing to the movie?
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like it depends on what part you play.
Okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't that completely disprove the gender pay gap right there?
Yeah.
All
right.
You have 2 actors who are basically both starring and doing the same job, but they have different value because one is a celebrity and the other one's an unknown.
And you're saying with the basketball?
Well, what I'm saying is when it comes to basketball, right? Yeah. A lot of women say that the WNBA should be paid the same as the...
Now look at this woman's body language. I really want you to check this body language out. Look at the raised eyebrow. Look at the scowl. Look at the intense stare. You can already tell the defenses are up. You can already tell she's you walk in a gauntlet right now. You walking into a minefield. So let's see how this one plays out.
NBA, but
Yeah,
they don't generate the same revenue. So isn't that kind of like the same analogy as the celebrity getting paid more than the no-name actor?
In some respect, but at the end of the day, I would say to advertise them more. In all respect, if we look at Nike, if we look at Adidas, who do we see? Like, we mostly see male, like, athletes. I'm trying to make a pose, models.
But even if you advertise something more, does that necessarily mean that you're going to have more success? I mean, there are tons of businesses that fail.
But there's a ton that make it, and it's by advertising.
Acting requires you to act, put a little bit more work into it. Actually read a script, right? Read a script, do all these things that NBA players don't have to really do. They just practice and so you can't compare them. You can't compare the two.
Well, once again,
as far as the pay.
Okay. Yeah, you're totally wrong, lady. I have no idea who you are. You know, I kudos to you for at least having the conversation and trying to think. And I get it. You're trying to defend the women's side of it, but you're completely wrong. To sit here and say that actors act and they put in work and they have to memorize scripts, and athletes just play basketball. They just play the sport. Like, we don't practice. We don't spend thousands of hours working on a craft, shooting, living in a gym, surrounded by sweat, wood, and leather and metal. Is very disingenuous. But again, you might not know because you didn't play sports. I don't know. I would imagine maybe you've been around athletes or dated athletes or met some athletes in high school. You probably would then have a different perspective of how hard these young men and women both work. So to say you can't compare these two because one's acting and one is a physical athletic sport, that's just wrong. That's just plain wrong. But let's keep going.
Greatest concern.
Well, once again, like I said, they're both, they're both training. They're both basically, they're both doing, acting, whether you're a male or a female actor, you're still basically, doing the same work, but they shouldn't be paid the same?
I don't know.
I'm just saying,
I'm over it.
Okay.
Next question. I don't think it's based off of discrimination. I think it's based off of how long you've been at your job, how well you are with your technique, and how good you are at what you do. I think that's what matters.
Do you think high-paid Hollywood actors should have their money redistributed so struggling actors can have a living wage?
No, those struggling actors need to work harder for their money if that's what they want.
Okay, but it's funny how a lot of Hollywood actors often talk about, socialism.
Yeah, I see.
So, okay, how do you solve the gender pay gap?
There's not a gender pay gap. That's complete bullshit.
It is very refreshing to hear a woman actually say that. And again, I know this might ruffle some feathers. Probably going to be a few women, misogyny, like, we get it. But no. There are women that are tearing down these walls and seeing the objective reality of the world we live in, which is really cool to see.
There has been some skepticism about the gender pay gap, equal pay for equal work. Do you believe the wage gap is due more to sexism or productivity?
I think it's sexism.
Yes.
Okay.
I think men get paid more.
Yep.
It's got to be productivity.
Can you show me a job where the pay scale for men and women is different?
Porn?
Okay.
I don't know.
Actors and actresses.
Oh, yeah.
Hmm?
Actors and actresses. They'll be in the same movie.
Yep.
Doing the same amount of work.
Yeah.
If the wage gap exists, then why would companies employ men when it would be cheaper to hire women?
Because companies can be sexist. And that's like the point. That's the problem.
Why would companies employ men when it would be cheaper to hire women?
That is a good one. Hold on. They probably wouldn't.
If women are capable of doing just as good a job and for less money, wouldn't it make sense for a company to hire all women?
Yeah, if women were getting paid less, what is it, 70 cents on the dollar? Yeah, companies would, find a good deal in that, yeah.
Is there a wage gap or an earnings gap?
It's got to be an earnings gap.
If men earn more than women overall, could it possibly be because men typically choose higher paying jobs, more dangerous jobs, and work longer hours?
Yep, these are all facts. I work as a truck driver. I don't see clearly as many female truck drivers as I do male. It's a dangerous job. It's a long job. You're driving for hours. Yeah, no.
Don't women...
And of course, you guys definitely suggest you guys check out more there. Shout out to that brother for speaking facts. Again, I just kind of wanted to allude to this one. Again, let me make this very clear. It has nothing to do with my ideologies or, trying to say one is better than the other or women are wrong or women are right. But yeah, I think the conversations need to be had. More of this needs to be told, because if we don't start looking at the world for objective reality and truth, we can't grow in it. And because it was obviously relevant to basketball, the discussions of the WNBA and the NBA, and how they're not getting paid enough. This is one thing I always ask women around me: when's the last time you've been to a WNBA game? Because when's the last time you turned a WNBA on? Think about it like this. There are more women in this world than men. We do realize that. Most people know that. That's common knowledge, I want to say. I believe 51% of the world's population is women and the rest is men. So imagine, at least just say in our own country, in the U.S. country, right? Not even all women. Let's just say 40% of the women in this country all start watching the WNBA, start buying their jerseys, start going to their events where they're at, start going to the arenas, piling up the arenas, checking them out. I guarantee you there would be a huge shift in terms of endorsements, marketing, and things like that for these WNBA players, and that wage gap would definitely that earnings gap would definitely be more non-existent. You have to keep in mind who is the ones that are generating the revenue. Unfortunately, even college athletes generate more revenue than some WNBA players. So my suggestion definitely would be get more women in your arenas. Typically men are the biggest supporters of the WNBA. True basketball savants, NBA players, especially with daughters. I went to plenty of Monarchs games when we had them here in Sacramento. It just is what it is. I hope more women would support the WNBA. I mean, even if you want to take it to the LGBTQ community, because they're very prevalent in the WNBA. If more of them go to those games and events and support the women, we would see a huge thrive. And I want to see it thrive. But we do got to start looking at objective reality. The WNBA operates at a negative $10 million loss every year. The NBA basically pays an allowance to the WNBA. And this is all information that you can look up, Google yourself. I want to see women's basketball thrive to at least even a quarter of what the NBA does. But we have to start taking some hard truths and objective realities to what's going on. So I thought, hey, why not react to this video? Shout out to It's Complicated. You're doing great work. I definitely will leave the link to his description, probably tag him on the title. Hey, if you happen to run across it yourself, brother, please check out my reaction video to it. I think you're doing great work out there, man. Check out the full video. See for yourself. Keep your mind sharp. Always focus on, what you think will help you be better. But these are just kind of tough topics and discussions that I think need to be discussed. With that being said, appreciate you guys checking out the show. Again, I know I'm trying to get on more subjects and social commentary that's going on with our lives in the community, but I do appreciate you checking it out. Please leave your comments, leave likes, hit that subscribe. HBO special, help a brother out. Shout out to the Poor Man's Podcast. Definitely tell me your input. Feel free to contact me, DM me. Don't care. Just want to get my 2 cents out there and hopefully help keep spreading the word of good podcast etiquette. Other than that, everybody be safe. Until next time, I'm out.